Team Trippy's Sprint 2 progress, and these are our team members' major accomplishments. My major accomplishment this sprint was creating a new FAQ table in the database and being able to add new items from the front end that are saved via backend to the database. Gustav worked on saving the travel search information from an API call to a particular user. Tommy worked on API calls that retrieve travel information and display that information. Andrew worked on creating the front-end capability of deleting an account from the database and resetting the password of a user as an admin. Morningstar completed indication of logged in, logged out, and is admin state with visual feedback in the navbar, which was accomplished with UX add-in for state management. Russell worked on being notified if valid information is being used or being entered in a user sign-up form, creating feedback to say account was successfully created, and having a reset password button for user to be directed to reset password page. Mohammed worked on creating an add, delete, and edit post capability to the events page. Vincent worked on the user's capability of sharing their posts and replying to that post. And Taylor worked on creating the authorization capability so that only an admin can make certain changes to website data. Natalie, and this is my work I did during Sprint 2 for the Trippy Travel website. As an admin, I want to be able to add new FAQ items and store them in a database. For first acceptance criteria, an admin can put plain text into a text field on FAQ page. I'll go ahead and put, this is a new FAQ. And so you can see that that is correct here, which validates the first acceptance criteria. Secondly, by pressing add button, the FAQ data is submitted to the database via backend. So just to show that, this is my table that's set up via backend. So we have these two items here, which does not match that item. We'll go ahead and hit add. Once we do that query, you can see that this is a new FAQ is now stored in the database. The FAQ data in the database matches what is submitted via FAQ page. So if you see here, this is the text item that we sent back to the database, which you can see matches this here as well. A table is created from the backend to the database to store specifically FAQ data. So this database is specifically for FAQ, which is the name of this table. We've selected all of the items from the FAQ table, which is correct. That data was sent from here. So you can see that that information is correct in that table. When checking the table in the database, the fields shown match what is submitted. So that would be these fields here. So we would submit an ID and a message, and this is the message. That message gets sent here, and those fields are correct and have the correct information inside of them.
Hello, I'm Robbie Walters, and these are the children's stories I worked on during Sprint 2. As a registered user, I want to be able to see flight options on the homepage to be able to save a quote to my account. Save option on the flight card only appears if the user is logged in. Save option on the flight card appears on the bottom right corner. For me to demonstrate this child user story, I will go ahead and log in with a test user. Once the user is successfully logged in, they're brought to the home page. Now we'll make a flight request between Oklahoma and Denver to see this option implemented. Once the user makes this request, the user gets a list of different flight pricing and quotes from different airlines. And as you see, there is a save option that only appeared whenever the user is logged in. And currently, as I just logged in with the user, this save button is on each of these flights. Additionally, these save buttons are located at the bottom right of the corner in a purple button, so it's evident to the user where to hit save if they want to save this particular flight into the database. Next, save button saves found flight in the database. Save When save button is pressed, ID of the account, ID of the user in the account table, and ID of the found trip, ID of the flight quote in the found trip table are saved in the joint table called account trips. And I will demonstrate that. For the particularly, we'll just go ahead and save this particular flight option, and we can see this in the database. If I go to the found trips table, we'll see that this entry was added into the database with Oklahoma City Will Rogers being the departure place, Denver International being our destination place. Our carrier information is also added, which is United. And then our departure time is also added to the save date, and the pricing as well is added. And then both the account ID and the flight ID is put into a joint table called account trips, which I will need to update. And as you can see, this has been updated with the new trips ID being this trip ID of 3 and the account ID being the account ID of the user. Lastly, save option is not available for users that are not logged in. And if I will make the same request but as a logged out user. So I'll just log out, go back to the home page. I'll make the same request. Go and pick the same airports and departure and return date. And as you can see, that button is no longer available because we're not a logged in user anymore. Thank you. That is it for my progress for Sprint 2. I appreciate you for watching.
This is Tommy Walker, and these are my child user stories acceptance criteria. Child user story is as a registered user and unregistered user, I want to be able to search on the home page and see information displayed about flight travel. And the acceptance criteria is flight search form begins with the departure and destination search fields. So on this page here we have the departure location and destination location. Drop down of airports is populated based on the destination departure location specified above. So here we'll do Florida and we'll do OKC. So these drop downs are now populated with airports from Florida and then airports in Oklahoma. And calendar selection lets users select departure and return dates. So here, departure date we could leave on the 20th and then return on the 24th. Flight details button is located at the bottom of the form. So at the bottom of this form here we have find flight details. When find flight details button is pressed, a list of flight quote cards are displayed. So we press that. Now it's displayed below. We're given more detail. So the flight quote cards and flight quote cards contain information on minimum price, departure place, destination place, carrier, and departure date. Here we have the minimum price, departure place, destination place, carrier, and the departure date here. So it contains all that relevant information about flights. Thank you.
I'm Andrew, and these are my 3 user stories for Sprint 2 of our final project. So my first is, as an admin, I want to see a list of registered users from the database so that I can manage accounts. So we have our project running on the right side. So I'm going to log in as an administrator. So once logged in, you go to user list to access admin utilities. So you can see here the first acceptance criteria is all users present in the database are displayed on the web page. So we see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 users. If I go over to the database and I query it with SQL, we can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 users. So we have 7 on each end. And then each user displays a correct corresponding ID. So we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. Then we have each user displays a correct corresponding first name. We have user, admin, test, admin, user, test user, and Jeff. And then each user displays a correct corresponding last name. We have McPherson, McUserson, user, admin, user, test user, and green. And then each user displays a correct corresponding email. We have user, admin, test user, admin, user, test user, and Jeff. So moving on to second user story, as an admin, I want to click the reset password button for any user so that I can change account passwords in the database. So the first criteria is each user has a reset password button. So all users on the page have its own reset password button. Clicking the reset password button opens a dialog prompt. So I hit reset password, we'll get a prompt right here. Selecting cancel on the prompt will close it and return the admin back to the user list. If I hit cancel, we're brought back and no changes are made. The admin is able to type into the new password text field. So I can type in new password. And then selecting confirm on the dialog prompt will change the user's password. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this last one, Jeff at email. So the password for this account right now is just password. So if I hit reset, I'm going to change this to test. We're going to hit confirm. So now I'm going to log out and I'm going to log in at jeff@email.com and we'll go ahead and show the password. So the old password was password. So if I hit login and I look in the back end, we'll get an error, bad credentials. But if I use the new password, test login, we successfully log in. And in the back end, we get select account ID. So it's a successful login. So for my last user story, I have as an admin, I want to click the delete account button for any user so that I can remove the user from the database. So let me log back into admin. Okay, so each user has a delete account button. And then clicking the delete account button opens a warning dialog right up here. Selecting cancel on the dialog returns the admin back to the user list. If I hit cancel, no changes are made, and we're back at the list. Selecting confirm on the warning dialog deletes the user from the database. And then I also want to point out that the warning dialog displays the correct user ID. So if I hit on user 3, delete, it will ask, do I want to delete user 3? If I go down here to user 7, do I want to delete user 7 or 9? So then if I hit confirm, it's going to delete the account. So I'm going to use this Jeff at email.com. I'm going to hit delete and then I'm going to hit OK. And we'll see that this one, select and confirm on the warning dialog, updates the user list to remove the deleted user. So this last account with user ID 9, Jeff, is gone. And if I check in the database and I use some SQL, you can see that that user ID is no longer there. It's been deleted from the database. So that's all my user stories and acceptance criteria for Sprint 2.
This is Russell Hayworth, and these are my child user stories for Sprint 2. As an unregistered user, I want to be notified if I'm entering invalid information into the user sign-up form so that I can enter in valid information for my account. Pressing the submit button when the form is empty will invoke the validation on each field. So we'll go ahead and press the submit button. And we see that the red warning messages pop up. The first name input field displays a red warning message underneath the field if it is empty. We do have that right there. The last name input field displays a red warning message underneath the field if it is empty. We also have that it is required. The email input field displays a red warning message underneath the field if it is empty. Also correct. The email input field displays a red warning message underneath the field if the input is not a valid email format. So we'll put in something, and then we get a message saying that indicates that we need to enter a valid email. The new password input field displays a red warning message underneath the field if it is empty. That is true. The new password input field displays a red warning message underneath the field if the field is less than 6 characters. So if we put in 4 characters, we get a message saying that the password must be at least 6 characters. The confirm password input field displays a red warning message underneath the field if the field is empty. This is true. The confirm password input field displays a red warning message underneath the field if the field does not match the new password field. That is also true. Red error messages disappear when the criteria for each field are met. So we will go ahead and put in Russell Hayworth. And our red error messages disappear on those, and we will put in a Russell at test2.com, and that worked correctly. And then if we put in a valid email that is at least 6 characters long, and then if our confirm password also matches, which they do, then all of our validation is correct, and the red error messages disappear. As an unregistered user, I want to see feedback if my account was created successfully or not, so that I can know if I have successfully created my account and can log in. A message indicating that the account was created successfully is displayed if account is created. So if we press submit, we are redirected, and a user registered successfully message pops up. A message indicating that an error occurred is displayed if the account couldn't be created for some reason. We will display this in just a second. After successful account creation, the user is redirected to the login page. We were redirected to the login page after the user was successfully created. So we will go back. For a message indicating that an error occurred is displayed if the account couldn't be created for some reason. We will do this email should already exist. And therefore, something went wrong. We got an error. A message pops up indicating that error. As a registered user, I want to click the Reset Password button on the login page so that I can go to the password reset page. The Forgot Password button appears on the bottom of the login form, which it does right here. Clicking the Forgot Password button redirects the user to the Forgot Password page. We are now on the Forgot Password page. The Forgot Password form appears on the Forgot Password page, which password reset forgot password form. The forgot password form contains an email input field, which it does right here. The forgot password form contains a submit button, which is right here. The email field displays a red error message if field is empty and the form is trying to be submitted. So if we try and submit, we get an indicator that the email is required. The email field displays red error message if field doesn't contain a valid email and is trying to be submitted. So if we enter in just Russell, we'll still need to enter in a valid email. So then it is valid. Thank you.
This is Morningstar Cornell with Sprint 2 User Stories. As a user, I want to be redirected to the home page after logging in so that I can search. Acceptance criteria. When the user clicks the login link in the nav bar, the user will be redirected to the login page. We are redirected to the login page. When the user types their credentials in the login form correctly, they will be authenticated on the back end. We can see the user here in our database. We have two users, a regular user and an admin. I'll be using the user at email.com. And to show that we are authenticated on the back end, we can see our returned token in the console. When the user is authenticated, the site will navigate to the home page. We can see here we're on the home page. If we wanted to do a search, we can scroll down to our search bar. If the user does not enter their credentials correctly, they will not be authenticated. We can log out, try to log in with the wrong password. We'll just type some bit. Currently nothing happens. I'll have some visual feedback for incorrect email and username password in the next sprint. Well, we can see here that we got a 401 user authentication error because we entered our password incorrectly. When the user is authenticated, the site will store the logged in state until they log out. We can see here that logged in is false. And if we enter our password correctly, we are now logged in. Is logged in is true. Is user is true. Is admin is false. If we log out, the state is updated to is logged out is false, or is logged in is false. As a user, I would like to see a logged in indicator so that I know if I am logged in. Acceptance criteria. When the user visits the site and is not logged in, the nav bar will have a link to log in. We can see here we had just logged out, we have a login link. When the user logs in, the nav bar will have a link to log out. So we'll log in again. The nav bar now updates to say log out instead of logged in. When the user is logged in, they will see the My Account drop down in the nav bar. We can see here we have a My Account drop down. We can visit our profile, which is a protected page. When the user logs in, the site will navigate to the home page. We can see that again by logging back in. Navigate to the home page. As a user, when I log out, I want to see confirmation that I am logged out so that I know my account is secure. Acceptance criteria. When the user is logged in, the nav bar will have a link to log out. When the user clicks the link to log out, the site will navigate to the login screen. When the user is logged out, they will not see the My Account drop down in the nav bar. My Account is now gone. And when the user is logged out, they will not be able to navigate to the profile page using the address bar. So if we go profile, it won't navigate there because it's a protected route. As an admin, I want to see a link to the user list page in the nav bar when I am logged in. Acceptance criteria. When the user is logged in as an admin, the site will store the state of the user until they log out. We'll log in with our admin account this time. Let's look at the state first. Is admin is false? Is logged in false? Is user false? We can look at our, now is admin is true? Logged in is true? Is user is false? When the user is logged in as an admin, they will see a user list link in the My Account dropdown. My Account, user list. If the non-admin user visits the user list page through the address bar, they will be redirected to the home page. Let's log out. Log in as a regular user. Try to go to the user list page, and we're redirected to the login page. If a user visits the user list page through their address bar and is not logged in, they will be redirected to the login page. And we just saw that. And those are my user stories for Sprint 2.
Hello, this is Muhammad Rahman, and these are my user stories for sprint number 2. As an admin, I want to be able to add, remove, and edit events so that I can keep the edit page up to date. As an admin, I want to click the Add Post button so that I can create a new post on the events page. So we will log in as the admin. Hello, this is Muhammad Rahman, and these are my user stories for sprint number 2. As an admin, I want to be able to add, remove, and edit events so that I can keep the edit page up to date. The child user story, as an admin, I want to click the Add Post button so that I can create a new post on the events page. So first we will log in as an admin. Okay. So as you can see over here, only the admin can see the Add Post button. When the Add Post button is clicked, a form pops up. Here's the form. Admin sees the text field, enter name, date, website, and image. So we will create a new event called Tomorrowland, November 24th to 26th. We will go and get Tomorrowland's website. Okay, so you can see over here that Tomorrowland has been created. If we refresh the page, it should be here. Admin's form has two buttons, save and cancel. Save button is clicked to store as you saw, and cancel button is clicked to close the form. As an admin, I want to click the delete post button so that I can delete a post on the events page. Only admin can see the delete button, as you can see over here. When delete button is clicked, it deletes the event card from the event page and removes the item from the database. You can see right here that we created the new event, Tomorrowland. Here's the new event. If we go back, hit delete, it gets deleted. We go back here, and Tomorrowland has been successfully deleted. As an admin, I want to click the edit post button so that I can edit existing posts on the events page. Only admin can see the edit button. You can see right here. When edit button is clicked, a form pops up. You can see it right here. Admin can change the event information and save it. So we will save it as World Cup 2022, June 26th. We will go and get the World Cup website. Okay, and we let the image remain the same. We will save it. You can see the information has been changed. World Cup 2020, June 26th. We go back to the database. Right now we have the name as 3, date as EMF, and website at EMF3. When we run again, you can see the name has been changed, the date has been changed, and the website has been updated.
My name is Vincent Wynn, and this is my contributions to Sprint 2. As a registered user, I want to be able to post so I can share my opinions. For the acceptance criteria, when I click the post button within the posting section, a new post will be created. If I go all the way down here, it goes all the way to title 3. My title. Post. And then whenever I click the post button, I scroll all the way down, and there is my new post. When the new post is created, the title will match the inputted text in the title text box in the posting section. For the post, this is the title over here, my new title. And if I scroll all the way up to my posting section, my new title is here in the title text box. When the new post is created, the post will match the inputted text in the post text area in the posting section. So in the posting section, in the post text area, we have my new post, and then we scroll all the way down to the new post. For the post over here, my new post. In the posting section within the Images and Videos tab, when clicking Browse, only image files and folders will be shown. So if I go all the way up into the Image and Videos tab in the posting section, and if I click Browse, it'll show only folders and image files. If I go to all supported files, it will show only picture files. The current date should be shown below the title of the post. So if we go all the way down, today's date is October 11th, 2020, right below the title.
Hi, my name is Taylor Burrows, and these are my user stories for sprint number 2. As an admin, I want to be the only type of user that able to access this page so that no other users can make these changes. The acceptance criteria are: admin users can access the user list page, admin users can access the backend API calls for the user list page. Registered users cannot access the user list page or backend API calls, as well as unregistered users cannot access the user list page or backend API calls. So let's go ahead and take a look at the database real quick at the accounts that we will be using. We have a admin with the role of admin, a user account which will represent the registered user, and the test user is going to be a dummy account that we're going to test the backend API calls to see whether they pass or fail. So at the home page, I'm currently not logged in. Let's go ahead and test a unregistered user trying to access the user list page. So I'm sending the request for user list, and it directed me to the login screen. So that is a success for the unregistered user. Now I'm going to go ahead and log in as a registered user. Logging in. Now I'm going to try to access the user list page. And it directs me back to the login screen. So that is a success for a registered user. Now I'm going to log in as the admin user. All right, now as an admin user, I'm going to try to access the user list page. And we see that there is a success for the admin user. All right, to test the backend API calls, I'm going to be using Postman to simplify everything. So the first thing to note, we have a test user account. The password, the original password is ABC123. I'm going to try and log in to show you that the original password works. Note that the ID is number 10. And for the backend API calls, we have list users, reset password, and delete user. So as a unregistered user, it's not going to have an authorized token or authorization token. And for user list, there are no parameters. I'm going to send the request. We get a 4-1 unauthorized response. So that was success. So again, unregistered user, no authorization token. Parameters are 10 and new password for reset password. So I'm going to send the request. And we see there's a unauthorized response, success. Again, unauthorized user, no authorization token. Parameters, delete ID 10, sending the request, unauthorized. So that is a success that a unregistered user cannot access the backend API calls. Now let's go ahead and log in as a registered user. So I'm sending the request for login. I'm going to take the access token from the response. I need to go ahead and trim it down. And back in Postman, I'm going to change the authorization token. I'm going to delete this, set it as the token received in the response. For login, do that the same for each of these. And now we're going to try list users. Registered user authorization token, no parameters required, sending the request. And a forbidden response, which is expected. So that is a success. Registered user authorization token, parameters, ID 10, new password. I'm going to send the request. Forbidden response, so success. And delete user, which was the regular user authorization token, parameters of delete ID 10, sending the request. Forbidden response. So that is a success as well. Let's go ahead and test the test user account to verify that neither the unregistered user or registered user changed the password or deleted the account. So I'm going to go ahead and send the request. Note that the string is ABC123. We have a success. And let's go ahead and test it with the new password just to show it won't work. And unauthorized for logging in with the new password. So that is a success as well. Now we need to log in as a admin user. get the authorization token. Need to trim it down. Let's go ahead and take the admin authorization token and put it in Postman. Okay, as a admin authorization token for list users, no parameters required, I'm going to send the request. And we receive a list of users. So that is a success for admin. Reset password, admin authorization token, parameters. I'm going to reset the ID number 10 to the password of new password. So sending the request. I do not receive a unauthorized response, but let's go ahead and try the old password for test user. It failed. Now with the new password. All right, that is a success. I logged in with new password for test user ID number 10. And now for delete user using the admin authorization token parameters ID 10, sending the request. No unauthorized response. Let's go ahead and see if the test user is still there. It is not, unauthorized. And one more test, we can reload the count table and see that the test user has been deleted. So that is a success for admin user cannot access the, admin users can access the backend API calls. So each of the acceptance criteria passed. So that concludes my user story for sprint number 2. Thank you very much.
And in conclusion, for this sprint, what we mainly focused on was creating authorization methods for roles and creating necessary changes to the front end for user and admin functionality. Thank you.